California has had the most expensive gasoline in the country. And now lawmakers are warning that prices could go even higher very soon. Congratulations. Not Max Gordon. Gavin Newsom. Live. Max is outside a closed Phillips refinery in Cali. Hey, Max.
Hey there, Dagan. Well, this refinery shut down back in October, and when it was operating, it accounted for a little more than 8% of the state's refining capacity. And now, in 2026, we are set to see another refinery close in California. This next one is going to be closing down in April in Benicia, California. It's owned by Valero, and that refinery accounts for just under 9% of the state's refining capacity. Republican lawmakers say overregulation of California's oil and gas industry is all to blame.
It doesn't just affect California. Arizona and Nevada also get their gasoline from our state. So you've seen their governors, bipartisan, expressing serious concerns over the crippling of the energy infrastructure in our state.
Here's where California's currently standing as far as gas prices are concerned. This is how they compare to the national average. Part of the reason for the price disparity is that California's gasoline is taxed at a high rate. The gas is also different than other states. California has strict air quality and environmental standards, and gas sold in the state must be a cleaner burning blend. Still, dropping oil prices and an increase in oil imports into California have shielded the state's drivers from any extreme price increases in the wake of the most recent refinery closure. A potential solution to increasing the oil supply in California and decreasing gas prices has come from President Trump, who wants to increase oil drilling off of the California coast. That's gotten pushback, though, from environmental groups and California Governor Gavin Newsom, who called the plan idiotic. Now, back here in Wilmington, the decommissioning of the Phillips 66 plant is currently underway. There are plans to turn it into a mixed-use development site with shopping as well as warehouse space. Dagan, back to you.
Yeah, people can go shopping there if they could just put gas in their tank.
Just have to walk.
Yeah, or they could drive there and they can just look. They can just window shop because they can't afford anything because the gas is like double what it should be because it's California. Great to see you, Max. Max Gordon. Made you laugh. Who wants this?
I do.
Oh, you do. Yeah, you're from California.
You know
God
what?
Bless you.
I don't hate this. This is capitalism. Money goes where it's treated best.
Wait, you don't hate what?
That they're shutting down and leaving.
Really?
Why should they stay? If a business climate is not friendly, if money goes where it's treated best, why? Why should I force a business to operate in a state?
I think you were having your baby when I had my tiff with Gavin Newsom over never opening up a retail business in California ever.
Oh, yeah.
Because the taxes on the fuels are a microcosm of what happens in California. If you look at labor costs and all the regulatory pieces, businesses can't make money there.
Here's the problem, and I don't have a problem with the refinery closing either. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Dollars and cents, they're looking out for their best interests, and that's as a direct result of policy. So, okay, but it's the same thing that we have here in New York, which is that you still have enough of an electorate in California to keep voting the same way. They don't mind that they're paying more at the pump. They don't mind that they pay more at the store for things than people do in other places of the country. They stay there. They pay their state taxes. They vote this electorate in. They chase others out, which you can make a sort of legal argument kind of like, you know, deprivation of use, that I can't enjoy California because you've driven me out, not me personally. But this electorate in the country is very, very split. And so as long as you have people in New York City voting in Mamdani and people in California voting in Newsom, I think the end result becomes just this even more polarized geographic map of the United States between red and blue states. All the people that are blue that want to pay for that and support that flock to the blue states. Everybody else flocks to the red states. And then ultimately you end up in a situation where I think there's going to be sort of a conflict because the federal government can't really, you know, this is the problem we're having with these, with AI rules, right? And the federal government can't control what the blue states are doing that is in opposition to its agenda, for example, when you have somebody like Donald Trump in office. And so where do we go from there?
Sometimes I get sad lately when I remember that I'm from Minnesota and how bad things are. But then I remember I'm not from California,
Thanks.
and I feel a little bit better because California is a mess. Here's some stuff I learned about California's gas that's crazy. They imported 6% of their petro needs in 1982. Now they import 64%. Their gas tax, just the one that pays for the roads, is 61 cents a gallon. 26 per, what do they charge per gallon in California now? It's a whole bunch.
$4.39.
26% of that is all taxes, all these various taxes that they have. But you know how Gavin Newsom in California is super into equity and everything has to be fair? So if you drive a gas car, you got to pay that 61 cents, probably some of those other ones too. Do you know if you have an EV,
You don't pay those?
you don't pay that? So you drive on the roads in California, but you don't pay for the roads in California. So I would say that state needs to work on their woke DEI-ness because they are not living
Amongst
up to
other things they need to
expectations.
work on.
Yeah, but
Yes.
Jackie's point still is, though, that those folks are choosing
They
to
choose
live
it.
that way.
Yeah.
And it's like saying, if you don't like what happens in our state, what the taxes are, how much the fuel costs, don't live here. There's plenty of other people that want to, except for there's a deficit in California. They're receiving federal funds in California. And at what point does the federal fund stop to say, we don't agree with your
Right.
policies?
I mean,
It's
I
not-
say yank it from
It's
every
not
blue
the,
state.
from personally, the living there, because I've had people say to me for years and years, why don't you move? Well, this is my job. I work here. This is the industry in which I work. It doesn't really exist outside of New York for the most part. That being said, the people there do choose to vote for these sadistic buffoons, if that is possible to put those two.
Fiscally irresponsible could be another term.
No, they are sadistic because this, looking at those numbers, that is regressive. That is the most regressive
It
of
is.
taxes.
Yep.
It hurts the working poor more than anybody else. And this is one of my favorite quotes of the last 5 years. It was in the Wall Street Journal when Mike Wirth, the CEO of Chevron, was getting ready to move Chevron out of California. He was trying to contact Gavin Newsom for a week last summer, texted him and said, I want to talk to you before I make this announcement to move the HQ from San Ramon to Houston. And he finally texted him and said, we're about to make this announcement. I'd like to tell you before you read about it. Gavin Newsom replied essentially, quote, I don't need to talk about it. I'm good. So this is what's happened in the last few
Gonna
months.
run for president.
Don't point
They
at
have-
Running for
me.
president.
They have
Running for
turned,
president.
they have turned tail because the pompadour of pomposity wants to get elected. And now he's trying to warm to big oil. The energy regulators have stopped efforts to penalize oil companies. He's changed his tune. The biggest exporter of oil to California is Iraq. All of it comes from like overseas. It's like these
Very clean and
questionable
sustainable.
overseas
Super clean energy coming out of
nations.
Iraq, just so you
right.
know.
When you're bringing oil all the way halfway around the world, you're creating greater pollution and CO2 emissions than necessary.